Welcome back to the Twin-Tuition podcast. I'm Noah. This is Luke. We're the best twins on the market. And if you like what you hear today on our podcast, please leave a like and a sub and comment down below on what you want to hear next on our next episode. Or if you don't like our podcast, comment on what we should do instead. Because we're still experimenting. We're new to this, right? Yeah. All right, so let's get right into it. Luke, I'm going to start off asking you a few questions about online school.
All right, my favorite subject.
Yeah, a new season of learning that we've just come in contact with. It's only, week 3, 4?
Week 4, I think.
Yeah, so my first set of questions is what's the benefit of online school? Do you think there are any benefits?
To online school?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, personally, I don't have to wake up at 7 and drive myself to school. I have to wake up at 7 and watch YouTube for 20 minutes and then log on to school. So that's obviously a plus.
Personally, for me, it's great not having you risk my life by driving us to school.
I'm not that bad at driving.
I'm just saying.
I passed the drive test on the first try.
Here's a little fun fact for all of you listeners out there. Luke technically should have failed his drive test.
Here's another fun fact for all you listeners out there. I didn't technically fail.
But you should have.
It's weird to admit to lots of people. I may or may not have ran a red light during my drive test, but it wasn't I just boom and just blasted through a red light, killing pedestrians and ran over someone else's car.
Hey, what did you didn't stop?
I didn't stop on a right turn on a red. Okay, people do that every day just in daily driving. I was just ahead of my time for that age.
It was the drive test.
Yeah, I was going for a better time score than a better actual score.
You're speed running the drive test?
That's right. I was speed running the drive test.
Anyway, so benefits of online school. Do you think there are any?
Okay, not for me so much because, I don't like talking that much in full classes. I can enjoy it, but in full class discussion, sometimes I find it hard to participate.
Yeah, okay.
But for people that are really shy and stuff, I could see how online school would be kind of nice actually, just a little bit of a breath of fresh air for them. They're not always being pressured to say stuff or whatever. And if you don't have any friends in the class, then you don't feel kind of left out. So I can kind of get that. But honestly, I would much rather just be back in school.
Maybe along with that, people that are self-conscious, even about just their appearance or something, because you can turn your camera off and
yeah, that's true.
Which I don't know if I think that's almost worse.
I feel like that's almost feeding into it, though.
Yeah, I know. Because if people were just there seeing you all the time, you'd get used to it. You'd be like, this is just me. This is just what I look like. It's fine. But when you have the option for people to see you or not, even if I had a bad hair day on online school, I wouldn't shut down my camera and go off the grid. I'd be like, yeah, it's just a bad hair day. Maybe I'll throw on a beanie or something. I don't know.
I like to think essentially all of my hair days are bad hair days. Because when you're waiting for the meeting start and you're looking at yourself and you sit down and you're like, all right, here we go. This is what I'll look like for the whole day. What do we got? And you sit down and you're like, is that, and you're putting your hand through your hair and you're trying to and you lick your hand and you're wetting it down. And you're let me change the lighting and see if I can get a different angle. It's just.
I usually I join the meeting 2 minutes early and then I look at my hair and I'm like, dang. And then I run right to the bathroom, get a brush, and I just do a little bit of fixing. I come back and I'm like, you know what, it's good enough.
See, I don't brush it. I just run my hand through it and hope by some miracle, the more times I do that, it'll look better. Sometimes it works out, so not all in vain.
So, along with, the opposite of what I was asking before, what are the main disadvantages of online school in your opinion?
The main disadvantages?
Yeah.
Okay, I think it encourages people to not try as hard because there's no one literally there watching you do your work. It's just all online.
True.
You can just, for a lot of stuff, you could literally copy and paste.
But you still have deadlines and whatnot.
You still have deadlines.
If you don't do your work, you still fail the class.
Yeah, you still have the work, obviously. But I feel like it's a lot easier for people to put in lackluster, especially because for the teachers, right? They're not used to grading so much stuff like this. So I feel like, I don't know if this is true, I'm not a teacher, but I feel like they're more prone to giving like a better grade on stuff because like they get it and they're like, well, times are tough. I don't really know exactly how to grade a lot of this stuff, but I don't know that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are grading pretty hard.
Also like tests. No one's like monitoring your tests, so you can see
exactly,
on like every test, which is kind of daunting for the teacher.
I know,
like,
it must be.
But I assume just honesty policy, high school students, people are like, hopefully they'll just do what they're supposed to.
Well, the thing is, if you just cheat on your test, then when you have like a big test that it's hard to cheat on, like an open response test.
Oh, true.
Then you're just gonna totally bomb it.
Well, also I've thought of this before. Like, I would never do this today, but let's say elementary school, 4th grade me, there's a math question, a little bit of multiplication, and I didn't know how to do it. So I pop on my tablet or whatever I had at the time. I don't know. I went to the library, got on the media center computers, typed it in, and trying to find a math question answer online, like on Google, is really difficult.
Yeah.
Like, not for multiplication, but like once you start getting into like variables and stuff, that's really hard. So like cheating on a math test isn't actually that easy.
I've heard people talking that like there's an app now where like you type in your question and someone else on the app like looks at it. I don't know if this is true. I've just heard rumors. And someone else working like with the app will look at it. I don't know if they get paid or whatever, but we'll look at your answer and send you, or like look at your question and send you back the answer.
Oh my god!
So students can just like feed.
It's like DoorDash for trigonometry.
Yeah,
like
you send in your order and you get your answer.
But do like the people that give responses, do you get paid or something?
I have no idea.
Or it's just the goodness of your heart?
I don't even know if this is true. We're taking the words of like 16-year-old boys,
that's fair.
So, and girls, but 16-year-old people. So,
not the most trustworthy crowd.
Yeah,
actually,
I mean,
I was gonna ask this anyway, but speaking of 16-year-olds, what's it like connecting with students for you personally? Because I know my experiences.
Connecting with students?
Yeah,
you sound like a teacher right now. How are you guys doing, like, connecting with each other?
Are you okay with your peers?
Yeah.
Are you in good standing?
You sound like a counselor.
Okay, but like, for real, it's a question because our experiences are slightly different in every class because we have breakout rooms and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, is it like what's it like online?
For those viewers that don't know what a breakout room is, it's basically you have your main meeting, right? And everyone knows about that. But then they'll put like other links, and then everyone breaks off into these little smaller meetings where like it's like a group project, but like every day, and you're not doing a project, so it's just a group getting together and staring at each other and being like, "Do you? I don't. Your math? No. Oh." And that's most of
So imagine a group project, but without a project.
And so most of the group is on mute and with their camera off. So speaking of, like, when people are just shut down, no camera on, they're on mute, what are you supposed to do? Okay, so we've talked about this, obviously, but like in some of my classes, what I try and do is if like, so okay, it's really hard if you like enter the meeting and you're like amped up and you're like, all right, let's do it, let's learn, let's get together, and then it's just like mute, camera off, and it's just like blank screen, and you're just looking at yourself in this void of nothing. You're like, what is going on? But what I try and do is just like, if you like, I've learned from a friend, if you lean into awkwardness a lot of the time, it'll make it less awkward. And I don't really understand how that works, but like a few days ago, like none of my group was really talking or saying anything about like what we're supposed to do. So I was like, who wants to kick us off or something like that? And I've just found little phrases like that can really help people start talking and get the ball rolling, so to speak. I feel like part of that awkwardness you're talking about is people will be like, oh, he's just being sarcastic. He's the funny guy. I am the funny guy. I'm the funniest guy. Okay. No, I'm saying, but people will be like, have that impression where they're like, oh, he's just, he's making a joke out of this weird situation. And then people will be more comfortable like feeding off of that joke. Well, I don't know. Like, what do you do in your meeting? How do you connect with your peers? Well, mostly I have like breakout rooms in math classes, so I'm just talking from that experience, where I'll be like, I don't know, if everyone's like on mute and they have their cameras off and stuff, I'll be like, so what did you guys get from number 23? Yeah. And if they don't respond, I'll be like, okay, cool. And that usually elicits some kind of reaction. Yeah.
And then the next time I ask a question, usually someone will respond and be like, so what'd you get for number 25?
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, I got this. And I'll be like, oh, sick. And if someone responds, you just got to feed off that. You're like, oh, man, I finally got a response.
You can't give like one word answers.
Yeah, exactly.
I found that just will almost kill it rather than just not saying anything at all. You gotta say stuff. You gotta like keep talking to people after they say
even
stuff.
if it's just like, oh yeah, I got the same thing as you. That's so cool.
Because I wouldn't say like I'm like the most social person.
Right.
Like
You're definitely not.
I know. I just said that I'm not, but I like to think I'm fairly social at times, and especially in like the current school situation, people are just so more inclined to not say anything.
Yeah, because
so I feel like people that are a little bit more comfortable with talking really have to give it more of an effort to get other people to start talking.
Yeah,
dude, we should take this to like the board of the school and be like, yo, listen to the podcast, banger ideas.
You know what I thought you were gonna say?
What?
I thought you were gonna be like, bro, we should have a TED talk. I was gonna be like, yes, dude. I've been thinking that for years.
Can you have like a 2-person TED talk?
Yeah, TED does
Are you
everything.
Sure?
Like
I've only seen like one person doing a TED talk.
Let me tell you something about TED. All right, TED is not afraid.
What does TED stand for? Can you tell me that?
The Excellent Designers.
That's not true.
What do you know what it stands for?
No, of course not.
I'm just saying, like, TED is a very diverse organization, and they have a lot of different speakers. So I really doubt that.
Are you like plugging TED? And all
if Ted's listening, you can definitely sponsor
this podcast
us.
is actually yeah.
No, but for real, they're very diverse, and they have like all sorts of people on there.
Yeah,
so I feel like they wouldn't turn us down.
People, singular. I've never seen a TED talk with more than one person.
Let me.
Okay, people technically a plural, but.
That's what I was gonna say. It's the plural of person.
I needed to twist your words to fit what I wanted to say.
Well, it just backfired massively.
I disagree.
No, but I think if we went to them and we'd like to kind of give a TED talk or whatever, they're like, oh, cool. Like, which one are you? And we're like, no, both. They'd be like, oh,
it's all or nothing. 2-for-1 deal.
Yeah.
On sale now.
Best twins on the market. I said it at the beginning. I'll say it again.
What would be really cool is if we both did separate TED Talks, but we were both on the stage at the same time. So you get 2 TED Talks in one. But then at the end, like, you've been listening to both sides and like, which one do I follow? He has good points. He has good points. And then we converge and it's like, be nice to each other or something. And you're like, whoa.
We're talking about like the Civil War, and we're just like, be nice to each other.
That sounds like something out of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. But
be excellent to each other. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a spin off that.
You know what'd be awesome that I just thought about? So what if we did like there's like one person plays or whatever that people write themselves.
No, but...
Yeah. Like,
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. You understand.
Yeah.
So what if we did a 2-person play? And it was like
people do that, I think, a lot.
Okay, I'm just saying, what if we did one of those and it was like a satire on the political system? Hear me out. The political system. Hear me out. In America, and like one of us was the Republican Party, the other was the Democratic, but we're twins. So it's like a satire explaining how similar they actually are, even though they're totally different.
They're not very similar.
Well, okay, like explaining how similar the people are, because we're all Americans, right? At our core. And it's like a satire, and I don't know. I haven't thought this out very much at all.
We'll think about that. You know what? We'll put that in the folder for possibly.
Don't put me in the folder.
Podcast episode 10.
Put me on the front page, man.
You're not on the table. You're in the folder under the table by the fire. Because that was a bad idea.
It
was a mediocre. It wasn't bad. It was mediocre.
If done well, it could be awesome.
I don't think we could do it well. I'm not an actor. You're not an actor. Neither of us can sing.
Are you kidding me?
Sing.
What?
Wait, that's actually, we were talking about that earlier. Like,
name a song. Songs. Literally, name a song, and I'll sing it for you.
Name a song?
Yeah. As long as it's like reasonable range, and,
yeah,
the right key and all that stuff.
As long as it's somewhere along the lines of like, Mary had a little lamb, happy birthday.
Someone easy like that. No, I don't
know. What's your favorite song?
I don't have a favorite song. Wait, do you have a favorite song?
Not really. It changes so much that it's hard to keep track.
That's true. I have some that I like a lot.
Okay, sing Sing part of Vienna by Billy Joel for us.
That one's kind of hard. I mean, Billy Joel is a very unique
I don't just
timbre.
Okay. Who would you rather sing? What artist?
Maybe I can do Billy Joel. I
Okay.
don't know. It's weird to be put on the spot, you know?
Okay, then you literally asked to be put on the spot. What would you rather sing?
Hold on, let me just think of the lyrics to Vienna real quick.
Okay, do any Billy Joel song.
I'm trying to
do
think.
any song ever.
Okay. This is hard, bro.
Yeah, that's why I didn't volunteer to sing.
Alright, Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling.
No.
From glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses dying. It's you must go and I must buy.
I was wondering about that part.
Vodka.
Wait, no. So,
That part goes really
our
high.
podcast can't literally just be us singing Danny voice.
I'm sure
for
someone
like
out there is going to be,
3 minutes.
I'm sure some Irish guy out there is listening and is like, wow,
That
they
was
get it.
great.
They understand.
Yeah, except we butchered Danny voice. That's like
I was doing great. Actually, I
You were
missed the
doing-
third note.
you
It's
missed,
true.
like,
I
the
noticed that.
yeah.
I was like, oh,
You were-
Danny boy.
Yeah.
I missed the third note
that was
of
bad.
the
That
song.
was bad.
But other than that, I nailed it.
Okay, wait. I literally was about to say something.
It does matter. Okay,
Okay.
how about this? Give me a bagpipe like soundtrack to listen to, and I can nail that song.
I don't think
swear.
that's true at all.
I can come close.
Right before I stopped you, I saw where you were going up with that, and it was not good.
Yeah, I didn't get the arpeggio right. What do you want from me? I'm not in choir.
All right. What was the question?
Which, you mean the last one I asked like 30 minutes ago?
Yeah, I guess.
I was just saying, what's it like connecting with your peers?
Oh, wait, are we still on that?
No, let's go to a different one.
Okay.
I feel like we stressed that one a bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't connect with my peers.
Yeah. That's the gist. All right. Okay, this is a big one that we could come under a lot of fire, a lot of controversy from this one.
Like fraternal twins comment.
Just
Okay.
Come on.
We'll bag
keep it
that.
on the DL.
Okay.
So, is online school harder or easier than regular school?
That's tough.
Right?
That's
As soon as I
tough.
came up with that question, I was like, man,
That's
that would be
great.
like, that's amazing. That's
Man,
the best question
I should like
ever.
make that into a podcast.
This whole make a whole new podcast that's just based on that single question.
Is it
Harder or easier?
Easier than like real like
Yeah,
well, I
then,
shouldn't
like-
say real school because I guess it is kind of
Well,
like
and then in person
in-person school. It's hard because I imagine we'd actually be doing a lot of the same work like in-person school, but I feel like in-person school, like a lot of our meetings end early before the official class period is over because you miss all of that time where you have to sit down and the teacher has to like get everyone's attention and then kids will talk over, ask questions. You miss a lot of that time. It's just cut out and it's just instruction. Here's your work, go.
That's true. So you're saying it's more constant learning,
I don't know about that.
more pure education.
I don't know about that at all. Because, like, it's on the controversy. It's like.
On the controversy? Is that what you just said?
Is that all right?
It's on the contrary.
On the contrary. Whatever, dude. Whatever.
That's
On the contrary, it's a lot easier to, like play a phone, like, text your friends or, like, play a computer game. Or literally do whatever you want if your
Wait.
camera's off.
Are you one of those savages that plays computer games during a meeting?
I actually don't, because I feel like that would.
I hope you get-
I feel like I've thought about it because it would be so easy, but okay. What I actually thought about doing today is like playing Run, right?
Yeah.
And then presenting my screen. So like I was playing Run or like some other computer, like Snake or something in some computer game, and the teacher would be like, "What is going on?"
But you stay on mute, so the teacher's like, "Luke, can you stop?"
Yeah, and
you
I'd just be like
just.
gaming. I thought that would be really funny, but
Actually, hold on. Something I've thought about is like, you know, when people go on rants and stuff, the teacher asks them a question and they just ramble on for like 10 minutes.
yeah.
I would love to just unmute real quick, like, shut up! And then, like, go on mute again. And then people are like, what just happened? And you just, like, pretend that you're writing something or something.
Well, one thing I've noticed, this isn't in all the meetings, and I don't fully understand it, but sometimes you can, like, hover over other people, right?
What do you mean?
You know, like, they're in the meeting, you can, like, drag your mouse or whatever over them, and, like, options show up, like, you can pin them to your screen.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes the option to remove people is, like, allowed.
Really?
Sometimes it's, like, remove this participant, and I hover over it, and I'm literally, like, a moral battle is happening in my head. I'm like, do I just remove them and see what happens, or do I not?
But you know what that is, right? It's literally God giving you a sign that you're meant to remove that participant.
I don't think that's true.
That's Jesus ascending
because
from
it
the
lets me do it to
heavens.
all people.
Wow.
I'm like 70% sure. It's not all the meetings, which is why I don't understand, because it's not
so
every
weird.
time. But I think I could theoretically remove the teacher.
No.
Like, while they're, like, mid-lecture, I could just
I
be
don't
like,
think I
boop,
doubt
and
it.
then they're gone.
You should remove me, and I can.
That's
my
what
internet
I wanted
crashed.
to. Well, I wanted to try and do that, and then if it showed up like Luke has removed Noah, I'd be like, "Yo, my bad. Didn't think that would actually work."
Something I've thought about is like if I wanted to play my internet crash card, but you didn't, would that fly? I'd be like, yeah, the reception in the basement, it's just crazy.
I don't think that would work.
I would hope it would.
Why would you play that card though? So that you
I don't
can
know.
sit on your bed and watch YouTube videos rather than sit in a chair and watch your online lecture.
Yeah, basically.
Like,
I mean,
the trade-off is like the same.
let's say I've thought about like if I had a bad night and I slept, something crazy like only 8 hours.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
That would suck.
I can't even
bro.
begin to imagine.
Less than okay. I'm being real with you right now. I know we were joking just then, but if I get less than like seriously like 8 hours of sleep, I almost can't function as a human being. I'm not joking.
What time is it? Dude, you better...
Yeah, I better
You
get
better
to
go.
bed. I don't know what time it is for the listeners, but it's late right now. This is my bedtime. But
It turns out it's actually like 4 in the afternoon.
I'm being serious. Like, but it's not based on how early I go to bed. Because if I try to go to bed at 9 and wake up at 8, I won't sleep that well. But if I go to bed at like 11 and wake up at 8, sometimes I'm better. And it's less sleep, but I think the more tired I am when I go to sleep, the quicker I fall asleep and the deeper sleep I get.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it makes
That's
sense.
kind of true for me, but I can run off of like any amount of sleep. Well, that's not true. I get a lot of sleep whenever I'm able, but I almost feel like, you know how camels will, like, before they cross the desert, like stockpile water in their like hump or whatever?
Yeah.
I feel like my body can stockpile sleep.
Wow.
Like, I'll oversleep over the weekend,
Wow.
right? And then my body's holding all the sleep. So if I like don't get a lot of sleep, I'll have like reserves to like push me through the day.
Mine is similar, except I oversleep and then I feel like crud. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
If I
that's
oversleep, I feel terrible. If I undersleep, I feel even worse. Unless it's okay, I will say this: if it's a fishing trip or a road trip, I can wake
skiing.
up.
I can wake up early for skiing.
Not skiing. I said fishing trip, or for me.
No, I was saying me.
For me, road trip or fishing trip, I could wake up at like 4 and be okay. Like 4, I get out of bed like, oh, let's go, let's take a shower and get on the road, man. Yeah. Do you
Fishing.
remember all those early morning fishing
Yes,
trips
I
we
do
had?
vividly remember waking up at 5 in the morning to go fish for
Hey,
catfish.
But it was so worth it.
We didn't catch any catfish. We caught like one like 6-inch bass after 6 hours of being awake from literally before the sun was up until like midday.
I've never been skunked so hard fishing.
I
in
was
those, like 3 days.
I thought about just like diving in the water and snorkeling and trying to grab one, and I might have had better luck.
There's something I realized after a while is that in Colorado, which is where we live, by the way, for the viewers, in Colorado,
Why would you disclose that?
it's a big state. We'll be fine.
Okay.
Anyway, in Colorado, there aren't any catfish. I swear. There's just, I mean, at least in our area, there's like
Well, there is.
2.
You just never caught any, and I never.
But I
caught
tried
any.
so hard.
No,
I used,
actually, we did. Like a
Oh,
few weeks
yeah,
ago,
yeah,
we
yeah,
both
that's true,
caught a
that's true.
catfish in Colorado.
yeah, but it took like months.
Yeah, it took
like
literally
literally-
months or weeks of trying.
It took literally like 2 months of
It took
trying.
total. Imagine you fished for catfish for 24 hours straight. that
more
wouldn't
than
be
that.
enough time to catch a catfish in
It
Colorado.
was probably close to like 48 hours
It was so
of
bad.
straight fishing.
Yeah, that was bad.
But I tried so hard. I used so many different baits. I bought like cut up sucker fish.
All right. Why
I'm just saying.
don't you settle down?
You thought it would have yielded better
Fishing
results.
nerd. Yeah, I definitely thought it would yield better results.
This is a fishing podcast now. Welcome back. No,
It's
I'm
not.
I'm joking.
It's
I'm
not.
joking. But that's not a bad idea.
You do that on your own time. I talk
will.
about fishing.
I'll make an individually run fishing podcast.
Okay.
I'll call it. Wait. I'll call it. No.
Hook,
Okay.
line, and sinker.
Ooh,
that's
not
trademark Luke Mayer. You can
Dang.
use that. That's mine.
You stole that from me.
That is mine.
I was gonna come up with that if you gave me like a few minutes. I guarantee.
There's just like a 5-minute period in the podcast where it's just you just being like, I'll get it. Like, guys, listen.
We already had like a whole minute in here where I
we
was just
sang
trying to
Danny
come
Boy?
up with the songs and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
hey,
that's true.
and might I add, you joined in.
Yeah, because you were struggling so
I was not
hard.
struggling. You
I-
came in.
I
Even on
added my
worst pitch-
natural, perfect treble voice.
No, you came
don't actually
in
know
and the
what
pitch
pitch
just went all awry. There was no
I thought
consistency.
it was okay, but
Okay, I will. Okay, something that I've noticed whenever anyone sings anything ever is that no matter what's being sung by who, the song. Well, okay, that's not. No, that is true. No matter what's being sung, unless it's a professional singer that's really good, no matter what's being sung, it'll sound better if there's more than one person singing it. Like you get one person singing a solo and they're like an okay singer. You're like, oh, that's okay.
I think, you know the song Auld Lang Syne?
Yeah.
Like the New Year's Eve song? I think that's the mentality behind it. Like one guy singing it and you're like,
That's
it's
kinda
like
lame.
an okay song, but you know, whatever. You get like an entire room full of mostly drunk people
Right.
waiting for like the ball to drop or whatever, and they like boom it out. Then it's gold.
No, it's true for every song. Think about it.
Not
you get
every
a group.
song. I don't think.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. Like get a group of 10.
I think it's because
people.
you can like harmonize with each other or whatever.
No, because even if they're just singing in unison, you can't pick out individual like voices and stuff. It's just a collective, so it just sounds more clean in a way. I don't know.
We should tell it to the choir.
No, I don't know. Just like a group of like 10 men or women singing in unison one song sounds better than if a mediocre singer were to sing that same song.
Okay, I guess I kind of agree with
That's
that.
maybe
but-
that's just me. I would love to know if other people out there are like, yeah, dude, multiple
Dude.
singers sounds way better, and I'm like, thank you. I would give them a hug. Not right now, obviously, given the state of the
I'm
world.
6 feet actually.
Yeah,
But
no, I just like be like, whoa, that's so cool. I give them a thumbs up.
Send them a hug gift. You're like, thanks, dude.
Some little like rabbit emoji or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, but in a few months, if someone came up to me and was like, bro, I totally agree with you. I'd be like, Brandon, come on.
Okay,
Give him a hug.
you
just
do
like
that. You do that.
I would be so stoked.
What was the original question?
The last question I asked about online school was if it's harder or easier. Pretty sure you never answered that.
I'm pretty sure I didn't. Well, I was dancing around it. I was toying with the concepts of if it's harder or
that's
easier.
fair.
Actually, I was about to say, going back to playing computer games while you're in class, that would just stress me out. Because, like, you're trying to maintain the game. Unless you, like, split-screened it. That could work. Because, like, you're in the meeting, and you're trying to make it look like you're paying attention, but then you're, like, trying to maintain your game score or whatever. That would stress me out. But, overall, I would have to say... Well, do you mean, like, workload? And, like, how hard the schoolwork is? Or, like, mentally... Because mentally, I would say online school is harder.
Yeah, way more challenging. I
Yeah.
agree. But like,
But
Just the
workload, I would say
learning
it's.
aspect.
I would say it's learning. I would say it's harder. The
Yeah.
workload, I would say, is easier.
well, it's hard
Or
to
the
know
same.
because we've never had these classes before. So
Yeah, but you can
be
compare it to
weird.
like other classes.
So
along
what
the
you should
road.
do is fail every class this semester, then retake it when we're in person again, and figure out the
I'm not going to
discrepancy.
do that.
But that would be
thanks
a
for
great social experiment.
for you. Yeah, you go ahead.
I'd be ecstatic to learn the results. I'm like, wow, my very own lab rat to test.
I'm not
Dope.
okay. Whatever.
I'd be so
That's
stoked.
What do you think? You think it's easier or harder?
I agree that like mentally it's much more challenging, especially for students that struggle in a certain field or like certain subject. Like let's say you struggle with math. Right now it'd be like,
Tough.
yeah.
Well, you can still get some support from your teacher.
I don't want to be pretentious and be like, oh, I'm so good at math that I don't struggle at all. Because I struggle too. You know, I'll watch the video notes for math and I'm like, what is he talking about? He's telling me to graph the sine of 40 billion or whatever. And I'm like, whoa.
I don't think that's...
Okay,
whatever.
You get the picture. But he's telling me to graph some crazy thing. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Thankfully, like, if you have a good teacher, they'll be like, all right, let's go over it in class. I'll explain it. You can meet me in office hours or whatever. And that's awesome. I think that's super important for all students that struggle with any subject.
Well, that's another thing about breakout rooms is like, if you have a good room that's like talking a lot, then you can help each other a lot.
True. Yeah.
But that doesn't always happen, which can make it even like if no one's talking, it can be really hard to like unmute and be like, "What did you guys get for this?" Because I don't know at all.
Well, we had that guy we know that reached out to us and was like, "Hey, I kind of want to make like a study group for math, so we can all be on the same page." And I was like, "I think that's a great idea."
Yeah.
Like honestly, because you're right, the breakout rooms doesn't always work, and sometimes you can't be in contact with the teacher. So having 2 or 3 or 4 or however many students in that same class to help you out, I think that's a fantastic idea, especially if you're struggling to especially if you're
I didn't say anything.
struggling to conceptualize the material. But so mentally I think it's way more difficult.
What are these huge words? Controversy. What did I say? Like
you said
contradictive
on the controversy.
Yeah, no, I know I messed up.
Sentence.
But what did I mean to say?
On the contrary.
On the contrary, and then you just said something that was big.
I said fantastic a lot.
Yeah, you said no, but it wasn't that. It was like
mentally.
No, that's not a big word. Shut up.
Anyway, as I was saying, so mentally I think it's way harder. I agree that workload, honestly, I think workload's pretty similar because we did a lot of online workload when we were in person anyway, like Google Classroom and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty similar. The learning aspect of it, I think, is harder. I think trying to learn new content is harder, but the workload is about the same, which if you think about it, if it's harder to learn stuff, but you're doing the same amount of work, that's not going to be a good combination in the long run.
No,
or the short run.
It's tough for sure.
Is that a term? The short run?
No, I don't. In the sprint.
Yeah.
In the 100 meter.
I mean, can you imagine if that was true for like Olympic events? They're like, yeah, we don't really care about the short events.
Run.
We're just gonna like do the mile.
Usain Bolt? No.
Nah.
No, he can't compete.
Yeah, but it's true. Like, why do we have like, oh, in the long run, it'll pay off. But whenever like in the short, I guess in the short term.
Short term, yeah,
in the short
I guess.
Term. But like, not
well, we
the
should
short
say
run.
it's just like in the marathon or in the 50 meter.
Yeah, but that's not good. I think there's
it's
a reason
essentially
people don't
accomplishes
say
the
that.
same goal.
I think there's a reason people don't say
Yeah,
that.
well, why? Why do you think that?
Because it sounds dumb.
I disagree.
Do you know the origins of the word marathon? I'm assuming you do. We took like the same history classes.
I don't.
You don't know why it's called a marathon?
Should I?
Yeah.
Marathon.
No.
Don?
Are you serious? Okay.
No,
okay.
why would I know
will enlighten you.
Who told you that?
I just learned it from history.
That seems like the most useless piece of historical knowledge.
No, it's an interesting
class.
story. So basically, there's some war going on in I think Greece. I think it was Greece, not Rome. So it was like ancient Greece. There's some war going on, and this messenger had to deliver a message about the war.
Message.
He had to deliver a message about the war.
Is that how they pronounce it in ancient Greece?
To a neighboring city, and the city was 26.2 miles away, right?
Convenient.
We know that because the cities are still there.
Okay.
That's how we know that. And one of the cities' names...
measured? Who like got a tape measure and just dragged it for 26 miles?
They just did Google Maps.
Boop. Didn't have Google Maps.
No, I'm saying the cities are still existing.
I understand.
That's how we know the distance.
It was a joke. I understand.
So one of the cities was called Marathon. And this guy ran the 26.2 miles as fast as he could. And when he got to this city, he died.
That's the origin of a marathon?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
The thing
he
that
died.
people are like, I ran a marathon. The first guy died?
I think so. I think he was so exhausted he died.
Wow, that sucks.
But it's a cool story, right?
Hey, did you hear about I don't know any Greek names. Did you hear about Agamemnon? That's a real Greek name.
Yeah.
Did you hear about Agamemnon? No, what? Yeah, he sprinted 26.2 miles. And wow, that's crazy. Where is he? He died, dude. He's gone. He died immediately.
Would it be hilarious if the person was like, "That's crazy," because we haven't even invented that system of measurement.
Yeah.
Yet. How far is a mile? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
We measure things in cities.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. The Greeks might have had something like that.
Yeah, they probably had a measuring system, but it wasn't miles.
That would be crazy. Or what if he only made it halfway? So
Then it's a half marathon.
no, but
wait, but
maybe he set out with another guy, like Agamemnon and
Agamemnon.
yeah, and Agamemnon.
But Agamemnon died halfway and was like, "Take my name."
No,
So
no,
that
no,
they know
no.
what we did.
Agamemnon made it all the way. He was a trooper.
whoa.
He died, but he made it all the way.
Oh, yeah,
So
okay.
he's running, right? But Agamemnon. We need a new name.
Yeah.
We're just gonna call him Achilles the Second.
All right. Perfect.
Achilles the Second.
That's a perfect name.
So Agamemnon and Achilles the Second are running. Agamemnon just blows past the halfway mark, which they wouldn't know that halfway yet, but
yeah.
But then Achilles the Second is collapsing and he falls and he dies halfway, and that's why it's a half marathon, because another guy died.
No, it's just a half. Wait, but if he made it halfway, would it still be called a marathon?
That's what I was wondering. Would they call it a
or would
marathon,
everyone
or
have died because he never delivered
An
the
attempted
message?
marathon, no one can run this distance.
And also, my thing is why do they call it a marathon and not the name of whatever the other city was?
because he was running to marathon, I guess.
How do you know that? You didn't even know the story. I don't know.
You told me. You
Yeah,
said the
but-
city's name was Marathon.
One of them. I'm not sure which
Oh,
one.
what?
Yeah,
Oh.
I have no idea.
Maybe there was a city in the middle, and that was Marathon, so it was his
he
rest
just
stop.
bypassed it. He was like, "Hey
Yeah.
guys, I just gotta do this
I'll
marathon."
name this run after you. Never forget.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it was the name of his hometown.
Was
It's
it really?
I just ran. No, I'm joking.
Oh.
What if it was? He was like, I just ran a marathon, and then he died. And I was like, we
How-
gotta remember this forever.
Because some dude died running way too far.
Hold up, I just thought of something. Is a marathon an Olympic event?
I think so.
Are you sure? Because there's I'm
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
there's
no, it has to be. It has to be.
But there's the 10,000 meter, right?
How far is that? That's
Really
6
far.
miles or 7 miles or something?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't want to do that math, but it's something
It's
like
really
that.
far.
I don't know how far it is, but that's far.
It's crazy far. Also, who decided that a track should be 400 meters? Was it
I don't
some
know.
guy in ancient
It's-
Greece?
Yeah,
That's
it was all Greece. That's where.
Yeah.
Did you know that actually message comes from ancient Greek?
No,
Message.
I forgot about that. The Olympics come from Greece, right?
Yeah.
Ancient Greek events. They did discus and I think shot and javelin.
Maybe
whatnot.
every time someone died doing something kind of cool, they made it into a sport. like some guy threw a javelin and gored some guy, and they're like, "This is a sport now because he died."
Let's compete over
Let's
this.
come out, and his name was Javelin. I guess, yeah. It was this guy's name was Javelin, and he landed on his own spear, and let's do a sport now. That's what this is.
Have you heard of the origin story of soccer?
Yeah, they lobed off our king's
Yeah,
head, and then
yeah.
were let's kick it around.
Was it in England or whatever?
Most likely, yeah.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if I believe that.
I 100% believe that. People
Really?
in England, nothing else to do, tyrant king, lobe off his head. You're not gonna waste that precious resource. You're gonna kick that around. You're gonna make a game.
That sounds like some French jargon to me.
You think that was French?
No, I'm just saying the French did stuff like that a lot.
Everyone did stuff like that. It was 1300.
It was the thing. It's let's cut off the
Let's-
king's head
yeah.
this weekend. That sounds great.
You guys down? Yeah.
Let's just grab a group of friends, go out to a bar, and then just let's overthrow the king. You know,
Yeah.
Why not? It's such a nice day. I would hate to waste it.
Look at this blue sky. I think that needs a head lobe off.
Can you imagine if that's how the French Revolution started? Some guy's it's such a nice day, and I want reform. Let's just do it, you
I
guys.
really
Come on.
don't think that's how the
Let's
French
just be
Revolution started.
crackheads today. Let's just have crackhead.
No, stop. Oh my gosh.
I hate
Okay.
when people say that.
Oh my, dude, these. I don't know how to specific to be without potentially embarrassing. I also won't say names, but these people in my band section, right?
Gross.
We're talking-
You're in band.
So are you.
Ew. Anyway.
No, but they were talking, right? And, we just have, like, this group chat, and we all say stuff, and I plug my Coke business.
Yeah.
And this one person was like, yeah, I actually have total crackhead energy. And I was expecting them to be like, just kidding. And I was like, oh, that's kind of not really that funny, but, it's a joke. And then just no follow-up. And I was just like, dope. That's really cool that you have crackhead energy. That's actually really cool.
That's exactly like the people that are like, oh, I'm so quirky, which is such a meme now.
Yeah.
But also, it's kind of true. People are like, oh, I'm so weird. Like, I'm sure no one else feels this way, but like, I don't like sushi or whatever. And I'm like, what?
I'll defend them a little bit. That like everyone at some point does something, like starts their own Coke business and is like, I'm actually really sick. Like, this is a totally new idea. Although technically I started with my friend, but totally new idea that no one else has ever thought of before. And I'm quirky, to put it in other words. But like,
I feel like before we should continue, we should clarify. Luke here
oh
started, yeah, because I understand what you mean, but they don't.
Okay.
So Luke here created a Coke business, like for soda at school, and he just went around selling Coke, and that was his business.
Okay, I co-founded it with one of my best friends.
You should make a movie, a sequel to the McDonald's Founder.
Oh yeah, what's that called?
Founder.
Oh, Founder.
But it should be like school
founder,
resale Coke Founder or something.
Yeah. Was it illegal? I don't think so.
No, you read the label. It said...
Well, no, but like selling on school property. Don't know where that stands. But like other people...
They sell donuts. Hey, no one stopped you, all right?
Yeah, that's right. I walked past the principal, and he definitely saw me carrying a case of Coca-Cola, so he didn't stop me.
Yeah,
But more backstory. I started that on the topic of school, and online school, and in-person school. Started that with my friend, and then obviously... the economy tanked and my business tanked with it. Stocks were down.
I invested in those, bro, and they dropped like 70%.
Yeah,
I was livid.
So the economy tanked when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And obviously my business went all down the drain. Quite literally, just dumping out. No, we didn't actually dump it out. I think my friend drank like all of it.
Oh yeah, he made a tower out of all the empty Coke cans.
No. Okay, but then we were driving on back on a road trip, and I was like, hey, family, wouldn't it be crazy if I restarted my Coke business, but delivery? And they were like, yeah, that'd be cool. But they were like, he's obviously not going to do that. That's dumb.
I think he was talking to me, by the way. I think
really?
you're like, Noah,
I mentioned it to the whole group. Maybe you're the only one that responded.
You're probably like, Noah, should I do this? And I was like, no.
No, yeah. But then when we found out that we're having like totally online school, I was like, okay. I haven't actually done it since school started. It was in the summer, but I was like, okay, let's start a delivery business. And I did. And I think I made like $12 off of like one case, which is pretty good.
That actually is pretty good.
If you think about it, that's pretty good. And that's not including like what I had to pay to like get the case. Pretty good.
I was basically your accountant for a while.
Not true.
Well, I also went on that delivery with you, remember that?
One. You went on one.
Yeah, I
had
one.
like 6.
That was so boring.
I don't know what you expect.
I thought it was going to be someone really, rad and cool that was like, oh man, you brought me a Coke, that's so dope.
I mean, most people aren't like super rad and cool if like a 16-year-old is like, here, do you want this Coke for $1.25? Most people like, I guess, here.
For whatever reason, I expected it to be someone that's 16 because you were selling it to a 16-year-old. But like have the mindset of someone older that's cool, but they didn't. So I just stood by the car. And she came over. I don't even know her name, so it doesn't matter what we give her name. But she was like, hey, are you Luke? And I was like, hey, Luke, someone wants you. And I just stood like leaning against the Honda Pilot.
That was like the bodyguard.
No, I just stood with my back against our Honda Pilot for like 10 minutes, just being like, wow, this is really disappointing. And then we went home, and I complained the entire way home.
Yeah,
I was like, never bring me on one of these ever again.
And I was like, you wanted to go.
You didn't discourge me from going, which is what that was a real disappointment. I thought you were gonna be like, no,
navigate for me.
I thought you, yeah, because you didn't know where like our city rec center was.
It was not the city. It was like some offhand north of town rec center.
It was very popular.
It was actually pretty fancy, but it was north of town.
It was in the middle of downtown.
Not true.
Yes, it was. And you're like, no, I need that Google Maps, man. I don't know where I'm going.
I didn't know where I was going. I would have gotten lost 100%.
Yeah, especially because you missed the turn. I was like, that's the turn.
Yeah.
Nope. Too late.
Okay. What were we talking about before my Coke business? I don't even know.
Online school.
Yeah.
Economy.
What else do we got? You got anything else to talk about?
I don't have any more questions. Do you have any more questions? I
don't, really.
I guess that's the conclusion.
That's the podcast.
To our podcast. That's kind of a lame ending, but...
well, how else are you supposed to end? Alright, guys. Let's wrap up the podcast. Episode 2.
Smash the notification button, if you please.
I've actually, looked at YouTube, on a side note, right before we end.
Yeah.
I've looked at YouTube, right, on my phone, and I've scoured it looking for the notification button when YouTubers smash that notification bell. I'm like, where is it?
There.
I have never seen it. I don't
serious?
think my version has it or something.
Do you have kids YouTube?
Maybe. I don't know, but it's weird.
Parental lock.
Anyway, okay, that was a tangent, but this is actually the conclusion of episode 2 of the Twintuition podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please feel free to subscribe, leave a like, comment on what our next topic should be. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. Thank you for the listen. Greatly appreciated, and we'll see you next time.
All right.